What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to YGOPD, your Yu-Gi-Oh! Professional Development, and today I am excited to show a little bit more love and break up some of the monotony from Kashtira with some decks that have gotten a little bit more love from the new set, but maybe not have been showcased in the spotlight of a few other Bane people's channels. I wanted to showcase a little bit on Evil Eye. This was a deck that got a couple of commons that were thrown out from the new set, not given much attention, but those commons are absolutely nuts for the strategy and can potentially even make this a semi-decent rogue pick for the format. But of course, before I hop into it, I want to shout out all of our public subs of the channel: Yugi Bro, Bick, Alexis, Hazael, Spencer, Mr. Izuka, Monster, and Francisco. Thank you all so much for joining the channel. I am going to stick with shouting out our public subs on our Sunday videos as normal, and then we will continue with our brand new series, Meta Sheep. If you have not seen it yet, please check out episode 1 that went live on Wednesday. That will happen every Wednesday for the next 3 or 4 weeks until all those series parts are done, and we will still continue to do our regular scheduled content on Sundays. So with all that said, we'll go ahead and hop right into the main deck, showcase the extra deck, and then do a quick live test hand to really get you the idea of how the deck functions. Okay, starting off with the main deck, we play Triple Surzeal, still the best and most powerful starter for the deck, adds any Evil Eye card from your deck to your hand. Really solid dude right here. And then after that, we are playing triple of the new common Evil Eye out here, one of the new familiars. This has a couple different effects that are all really solid. Has a quick effect that allows you to special summon itself from the hand or grave to the field if you control an Evil Eye. And then the secondary quick effect is you can link with it on your opponent's turn into an Evil Eye link monster and use Evil Eye equips as link material. So you're typically using this with Surzeal and then potentially the Evil Eye of Selene to either make a Link 2 or a Link 3 on your opponent's turn, helping you essentially get more than just the Surzeal pop pass that we had seen back in the day. Really good, really helps speed things up, and also helps turbo out rank 3s that are a little bit spicy techs and engines that have been popping up that you'll see a little bit later on in the deck for turn 1. In line with that, we are again focusing as much as possible on the rank 3 or level 3 extenders to get to that rank 3 package rather. So 3 Basilius, pretty straightforward there. And then 1 of the other familiar here. You basically want at least 1 of the other names, so that way when you're using the new cards to kind of search one of your level 3 extenders, even if you hard open 1, you're getting 1 of the other 3. So you're going to be able to get 1 of these 3 off your combo should you already open 1, just so that way you can really have the extenders you need to make the plays that you want. And that is it for all the Evil Eye monsters. Onto the spells, we play triple Foolish Burial Goods. The name of this deck really is you still need a little bit of help with consistency. Foolish Burial Goods definitely does help with that quite a bit. This card is what's going to dump your equip spell that is now an Insane Searcher for almost any Evil Eye card that you really need. Absolutely insane. And you're typically dumping with this one of the 2 equip spells depending on your hand, which is going to be either a copy of Gorgon. This is your main searcher. When it's in the grave, you can get rid of it to add another Evil Eye from your deck to your hand. And in line with that, you can also have 2 Selene. Typically, you're not adding this or dumping this, but you can if your hand is that great. But that card can recur itself back from the grave, so you don't really need to worry about it too much. And then from there, we play 3 of the field spell. Again, just another searcher for Evil Eye, adds any Evil Eye monster from your deck to your hand. And then 3 of the other new card that just happened that is absolutely nuts. This card is Evil Eye Unleashed. You basically dump an Evil Eye monster and an Evil Eye spell or trap from your deck to your grave. So you're sending your Gorgon, which is your primary searcher here, along with one of the level 3s that you already haven't seen. Typically, it's going to be the one that is our newest one that specials itself back from the grave to get to the field. It's just like a really insane card. And that send is also for cost as well, which is really, really crazy. So, and then after it sends both of those for cost, you can then go ahead and add from your deck to your hand another Evil Eye. So it's really, really insane, really, really powerful. And then from there, rounding out the Evil Eye package, we just have 1 Retribution and 1 Terraforming. Retribution I still feel is really needed. You ultimately want to go first in this deck. And Terraforming, again, is just another copy of the field spell, which is, again, another starter or extender for any piece that you're looking for. So that's it for the Evil Eye piece. The rest of the deck, you got about 15-ish slots you can work with, a little more, a little less, depending on your ratios. This deck maxes out at 40, and the rest of it is either hand traps, board breakers, consistency pieces, or some combination of that. So starting off with that, we do play Triple Pot of Prosperity. You don't really need to have this. If you really want to change it up and go a little bit more budget, you could do a card like the Triple Tactics Talent that's been reprinted a couple of times, if that's still even a little bit too much for you, and leave the Foolish Burial Goods in as your primary consistency piece. I prefer Foolish Burial Goods just because that doesn't conflict with the Prosperity ad, since you want to avoid the draw. But if you're worried about that and you want to switch this up, you most certainly can. I still do play at least 2 talents in addition to the Prosperities and the Foolish Burial Goods. Again, you want the consistency, or at the bare minimum, you're getting the hand rip. And everything in here is designed to play around Thrust. Thrust is a power card in this meta, and it's really kind of disgusting what it can do. Even Thrust, just searching tactics to rip a second card out of your hand if you're going second, might be a little bit too much to handle. So tactics is a really key card right now to kind of help counterbalance a lot of what's going on. And then for the rest of this, these are kind of pseudo board breakers / interruptions that work on either turn. And again, the goal is to play around tactics and thrust and all that stuff. And it really does a decent job at countering the meta, and I'll kind of talk about it as we go. Book of Eclipse is probably the fairly obvious pick, but again, reminder of rulings is monsters that are flipped down are still recognized as special summoned, so you could still pop them with Selene and Surzeal and all that kind of good stuff. So Book of Eclipse really does a lot to kind of get exactly what you need happening, and it's still a decent interrupt, so that way you can kind of protect your board and insulate yourself if you really need to. But again, this is more of a going second card, but again, can protect you moving forward, especially if you decide to go directly into the links. That's always a really cool play to kind of Book of Eclipse, chain, quick link, and then you have a monster on your field that's protected. It's not going to get flip face down because it's a link monster, and it can't, and you just still flip down your opponent's board, and you can still pop stuff as you choose. So it's also really good, helps shut down Kashtira if they don't have exactly birth. They have no other ways to extend. So in line with that, we're actually on triple Book of Moon as well. A really good card. Again, going first or second, really solid piece of interrupt. I really do like it. The name of the game really is powerful right now between the rogue decks that are Kashtira as the main tier, and then Swordsoul has kind of been coming up as the rogue deck or one of the tier 2 decks of the format. And Book of Moon really just helps either bait out negates or shut stuff off. When you just Book of Moon, lock them into a token, they can't really do anything. So that's really powerful there. And then Branded, it's not great, but again, still doing something like book the Mirror Jade ahead of time to kind of bait it out and then do your plays is still powerful. And then, of course, we play triple Imperm. This is pretty straightforward. You kind of need this right now in this format. If you're on Ash, Ib, Imperm, those are the 3 holy trinities, Ash, Nib, and Imperm. But in this deck, we just do Imperm again because we want to play around certain things. And then one Called by the Grave. Shifter really does kill this deck, and you kind of have a spare slot. So I figured Called by is kind of the most flexible piece here still, since other random things can kind of pop up. And it's still decent, depending on how Kashtira builds their board, to kind of negate something like Fenrir on their turn, and then you can still continue to combo and all that kind of stuff. So that's it for the main deck. We'll go ahead and hop into the extra deck here. Okay, for the extra deck, I have a couple things in multiples and a couple things not, just to showcase all the different packages you can do, and depending on which ones you feel like call to you the most or you might be the biggest fan of as I'm showcasing these, those are the ones you'll want to prioritize bumping up to maybe 2 or 3 copies to help deal with the Kashtira extra deck rip nonsense. So starting off, obligatory, obviously, you play 2 of the Link 3, which is just a pop, and 2 of the Link 2, which is a monster negate. This is kind of pretty self-explanatory. You could go harder into these and play 3 and 3 because you have so much spare space in the deck, but for now, 2 and 2 is fine. And again, your kind of packages of choice, I'm just going to showcase a few things here. Access Code, Unicorn is obviously always a really great pick for just general tools. Same thing with IP Masquerena. This is a pretty general, straightforward kind of tech choice, more so just extra deck slots in moving forward. But again, you might want to max out on different things because you don't want to pay for 2 Access Code, even if it is the gold version or whatever version you want. It might just not be worth it. But again, those are cards you can run. Similarly, you can play the Scareclaw Triheart. This is actually kind of a really easy card to make in this deck, and certain decks like Kashtira and other decks can't really get around it. So really nice card. If you have the extra few bucks to throw at it, this might be a nice tech for you. And then obviously you need something to help deal with Ibly, Lingaribo, something like that. You don't have to, because you have like Selene and books and other tools, but I feel like it's still necessary to at least respect it enough to dedicate at least one slot to it. And then after that, we play double Zeus. Again, we are playing Summox Season here, and there is a chance, depending on your build, that if you're on cards like Change of Heart, Mind Control, Tactics, you can take their Arise Heart, take whatever, and be able to make a Zeus. So there's that. And then in line with that, since I have the Arise Hearts, I'm putting them in here just as slots. There's no reason not. I think if you have a extra deck with a lot of space and have the ability to take stuff, to not have these in here, to just take something, plop an Arise Heart on it, and then plop a Zeus on it after that is really, really powerful. And then the last one, where you really should be playing 2 and 2 of this, again, I just have one here to showcase for each, is the DDD package. I'll showcase that combo after this, but this is just a really cool way to use 2 level 3s to make this guy overlay into this, and then just basically is a now card that gets you 2 monster snatch steals on your opponent's turn, which is really good against cards like Kashtira. They activate Unicorn, take it, summon Fenrir, try to search, take that too. It's really powerful right now. So yeah, that's it for the extra deck. That is it for the main deck, and I'll go ahead and showcase a quick combo / test hand. All right, trying to get this as shuffled as possible, given we, had this deck in order and all that kind of good stuff. And we'll showcase a quick test hand of what this can actually do. We'll zoom out just a little bit more to try to keep everything in frame here. We're dealing with a Terraforming, a Basilius, a Selene, and one of the new familiars, and a Surzeal. This is all Evil Eye, but this will at least just showcase, here's what the combo that Evil Eye does going first. You have enough extenders that you can kind of play through stuff. So we'll start off by going ahead and using that Terraforming to get a copy of the field spell. We will add the domain from our deck to our hand, and then we can go ahead and just activate the domain, put that up here, and we will search a copy of the one piece that we just don't have. So we'll grab the other level 3 that's our one of in the deck. Go ahead and grab that. And then from here, what we can do is we're just going to normal Selene and use its effect to add an Evil Eye spell trap. Since we already hard opened the Selene and like all the extender pieces that we want, we're just going to go ahead and take a copy of Retribution here. There's no reason not to insulate in that way. Otherwise, you would be searching and doing a few other things, because you could add like domain and then, dump stuff and search like that. I think it's called Unleashed now, but the new spell is something you could add as well. And then from here, what we're going to go ahead and do is just use their effects to each special summon themselves. This guy will special summon, and then this guy will special summon. We can keep that other extender in hand should we want. And then from there, what you're going to do is you're just going to overlay these two into a copy of your DDD rank 3, and then you'll overlay that again into the big DDD Deus King Machinex. This guy is really powerful. Then from there, you have the equip for Selene, and then you have the Retribution set. So what this really looks like is a couple of things. There's a lot more than what is here. It might be a little bit deceiving, but essentially, you're going to have one of a few different things happen. The first is you're going to have a pop from Selene. That's going to be our first interruption there. You're just going to have a quick pop from the Surzeal equipped to the Selene. The second one you're going to have is you're going to be able to detach 2 from the big DDD. So we'll detach 2 to then take and equip something that your opponent has. So that's a second interrupt there. So we'll go ahead and just say that that's 2. And then from there, we can use this guy again because it still has 2 materials and it's not a once per turn or even a hard once per turn, which is absolutely nuts. So we can detach that, take a second thing. So now we've had 3 interruptions so far. Retribution is going to be interruption number 4. And then from there, we can always chain our new guy from grave, bring that back, and then quick link in either a link 2 or a link 3, depending. We'll go ahead and do a link 3, and then we'll go ahead and make our Zerziel. And because of the effects of the new guy, we're going to have this end up being re-equipped. So then that's a pop. So that's 5 interruptions. If you wanted to go for Gorgon instead, you can definitely do that. That would still be your 5th interrupt, but it would be a monster negate instead. The difference is that this can pop any card, whereas the original piece with Surzeal can only pop a special summon monster. So that's 5 interruptions just from this quick little combo. So this deck really has a lot of potential. I think it's really, really cool. If it gets a couple pieces of support just like they did already, the deck is going to be absolutely nuts. But that's it for the main, the extra, the side, a quick little test hand / more combo showcase just to give you guys an idea of how this works. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, second episode of that series for Meta Sheep will drop on Wednesday, and I will see you all in the next one. Later.